Hey everybody, it's Andrew. It's Tuesday, so here is the next installment of the Pillars of Hellenismos. Today we are talking about Hagneia or Hagneia, depends on how you want to pronounce it. I've seen both as pronunciations. So Hagneia is it's hard to explain. Hagneia is ritual purity. Okay, it's being pure when performing rituals. Now, in order to be pure, someone needs to be free of miasma, and miasma is like supernatural guck that kind of sticks to you. It makes you unpure, it makes you see it's not like sin. A lot of people compare miasma to sin. They say, well, as humans we sin, and so as humans we have miasma. It's just how it is. We have miasma and we have to purify ourselves before we work for the gods. Now, the thing about that interpretation about Hagneia is that those people have tended to just think that they only need to be at their best when they're actively performing a ritual, but we're working for the gods every day, all the time. The gods are there to help us and to lead us, and in turn, we do and what they need us to do. We work with them. I don't really like the term worship. I think that working with them is a lot more accurate to the relationship that I have with a lot of them. So in order to fully get a grip on Hagneia or Hagneia, you need to think about what's your miasma? What is it that just makes you feel gross? What do you do or experience, or what do you say, or like what happens that you just feel gross afterward? Little tidbit, I was assaulted about a year ago now, and I had all kinds of miasma all over me. It was like I was tainted. My friend, who's an aura reader and a long distance cleanser, he searched my aura, and he said it was like black tar just in my space and in my energy. I'll never forget that feeling. But there are different ways to purify yourself and to reach Hagneia or Hagneia, and get rid of that miasma. How I got rid of that miasma, of course, started with an energy healing, and just like I was doing my morning and evening rituals every day. I was following the moon so intensely. I was marking down everything. I stayed in the woods for a week with my family, who, we were on like a family vacation and everything, and I was just completely like, everything was spiritual recuperation. That's how I started to heal, but what really became my purge was MMA. I now do MMA. I'm not in a cage or fighting on party buses or anything, but I have a trainer and I practice MMA 3 times a week, except for during this whole COVID thing. But yeah, it just like really became a release and helped me purge everything. Some people use turnips as a ritual purification, which, to my understanding, is like running. It's like using burning herbs and water to purify yourself. To my understanding. Now the thing is that you can't expect yourself to be pure all the time. It's just not realistic. But what you can do is try. And the thing is that Hagneia, it comes from inside of you. Now, I always do a purification before I do a ritual. Not before I do a spell or anything, but just before a ritual, like if I'm doing a full moon thing or a new moon thing, or my friend's in deep shit and I have to, do a whole thing, like, yeah, I'm gonna purify myself before and after, go into it the best and make sure that you come out just as good as when you came in. But it doesn't have to hurt. Like some people, when they purify, they're just like, oh my god, it feels like I just like emptied my entire soul. And it's like, well, that's because you're not trying to be pure when you can, it goes along with the excellence one that we were talking about, arete, like it goes along with that. Like as long as you're trying, you're doing your best, you're following, you're doing arete, and you're being the best you possible, you won't have as much miasma as people who aren't doing that. And this can become a mindless thing. Like, yeah, first it's going to take a little bit for you to get used to it, but eventually it becomes mindless and really easy. So, Hagneia, you really just have to, it's avoiding what makes you feel sick. It's avoiding what makes you feel gross. I mean, it's avoiding all of those things and repelling against it and actively trying to make yourself the best you and to stay the best you. That includes self-care. All of my people who are like me who have mental illness, this includes self-care. Don't go around being like, well, I'm Greek pagan, so I have to be at my best all the time. No. You have to try your best all the time, and that means that when you are no longer at your peak, you do self-care. Don't screw yourself up and try to do so much that you just lose it, and completely break down. Because then you're going to have to rebuild yourself back up. And that's going to take a lot of hard work and time. Now, I had to build myself back up again. I've done it multiple times, and I come back better each time. But if you don't have to do that, don't force yourself into that position. Just do your best, keep in the mindset of the quote that I like to use to remind myself of Hagneia is, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. So think that way. Every decision you make, try to make it a spiritual decision. Look at it and say, will doing this cost me any peace with myself? Will going to this place put me in a position where I might lose some of my peace? If it does, view it as miasma and just do a hard pass, say nope, not doing that, and just go the other direction. You can make these decisions, whether it's your job, whether it's a friend, whether it's going to a bar, whether it's trading the bar for AA, whether it's going to, like, just anything, like, as long if it costs you your peace with yourself, it's causing you miasma, and you need to focus on Hagneia in order to get rid of all of that miasma, because that is going to be the best way for you to really commune with the gods. Use them and ask them to help you work through all of that miasma so that you can be at your best. That is what they're there for you to use them and work with them, and for them to work with you so that then you guys can have a beneficial relationship. So that's my take on Hagneia. I'm sorry I didn't have any myths for you or any big fancy background. I think it's just more of a pillar that we really need to discuss rather than a pillar that we need to, like, analyze, So keep away from me, Asma. If you guys have any questions or you need someone to talk to, please, my inbox is always open. I will always be here to answer questions or to help out. So I hope that you guys are all great, and I'll see you next Tuesday.